On a cold day in March 1921, a shocking discovery was made in Waukesha, Wisconsin. The lifeless body of a young boy, estimated to be between 5 and 7 years old, was found floating in a pond on the O'Laughlin Stone Company property. His small frame was dressed in fine clothing, an elegant gray blouse, mismatched stockings, and a torn undershirt. Yet despite his refined appearance, no one came forward to claim him. No parents, no relatives, nothing. The boy, forever unidentified, would become known as Little Lord Fauntleroy, a name borrowed from a popular children's novel, reflecting his noble and tragic image. His death remains one of America's most haunting unsolved mysteries. The autopsy revealed the boy had suffered a fatal head injury, consistent with blunt force trauma. Bruising on his body suggested he had been beaten before his body was placed in the water. Investigators believed he had been in the pond for several days before he was found. The high quality of his clothing suggested he came from a well-off family, yet no reports of a missing child matched his description. The community was left stunned. How could a child from a good home simply disappear, only to be discarded like this? Authorities launched an intense investigation, desperately trying to identify the boy and understand the circumstances of his death. Newspapers across the country published details of his clothing, his estimated age, and his tragic fate. But despite widespread attention, no solid leads materialized. People speculated that he may have been from another state, brought to Wisconsin to hide his identity. His fine attire made it unlikely that he was a runaway, leading authorities to suspect something more sinister. As the investigation dragged on, theories emerged. One of the most compelling connections came years later, when suspicions arose that Little Lord Fauntleroy might have been a missing Milwaukee boy named Homer LeMay. Homer's father claimed the boy had died in a car accident and was cremated, but inconsistencies in his story raised red flags. In the 1940s, a local medical examiner suggested that the unidentified child could, in fact, be Homer. The physical similarities were uncanny, but no exhumation was ever conducted to confirm the link, leaving the theory unproven and the mystery unsolved. Other theories suggested that the boy may have been the victim of a tragic family secret. Could he have been the son of a wealthy family, whose death was an attempt to cover up abuse or an accident? The lack of identification on his clothing hinted that someone may have intentionally erased any traces of his identity. Some believed his death was the result of a botched kidnapping, with the perpetrators abandoning the body when their plans went wrong. Despite periodic efforts over the years, the case of Little Lord Fauntleroy remained cold. Each passing decade brought new technologies and investigative methods, yet no definitive answers. Calls for exhumation and forensic analysis using modern DNA techniques have been met with resistance, leaving his final resting place undisturbed. His small grave, marked only by the name given to him by strangers, stands as a silent reminder of a life cut short. Marilyn, an elderly Waukesha resident, recalls how local rumors circulated for years about the boy's identity. Some claimed that his family had secretly moved away, while others whispered that someone in town knew the truth, but took it to their grave. Without evidence, these stories remain just that. Stories, adding to the eerie mystique surrounding the case. The identity of Little Lord Fauntleroy remains one of the most unsettling questions in criminal history. Was he truly the missing Homer LeMay? Why was no one ever charged with his death? Who took such great care to ensure his identity was erased? And why did no one ever come forward to claim him? After more than a century, the mystery lingers, leaving behind a tale of sorrow and speculation. With advances in forensic science, there is still hope that his story will one day have an ending. Until then, he remains a poignant symbol of a life lost too soon, a child whose name and fate were stolen in the shadows of history. What do you think happened to Little Lord Fauntleroy? Let us know your thoughts, and if you found this mystery intriguing, be sure to like and subscribe to Baffling Mysteries for more haunting unsolved cases.